developing empathy?
Empathy, super underdeveloped skill in most people.
Yeah.
I would say we don't know how to be empathetic toward ourselves. True. And so it's pretty impossible to be empathetic towards others.
And the reason is because our being hard on ourselves actually works for a season. You know, suck it up, you know, stand up, take it, you know, take it like a man, take it like a woman, you know, that drive yourself into the ground actually works for a while. And so we do it, we get some progression. And so we think whenever I'm struggling, I should be hard on myself to get progression rather than give empathy and grace to myself and actually work through the pain so I don't have this pain anymore. And I don't have to face this in this particular situation that shows up constantly. And I think the biggest struggle we run into is a lot of these unhealthy behaviors actually work for a while. You know, there's a lot of high-powered, you know, leaders, pastors, business people that they're hard-driving, workaholic, you know, numbing out, struggling, actually was part of what led them to be people-pleasing, was what led them to be successful in their areas. Successful. Like get the job, get the raise, get the promotion, get the deal, get the sale. And so it actually worked for a while and until it doesn't. And then we watch these people implode over time and we watch them struggle and because of the unhealth that starts to show up at that stage in their life.
Because honestly, it goes back to the motivation. Your motivation is, I want to get this, I want to get this, I want to get this. When we approach ourselves with empathy, it helps us change what our motivation is.
Pay really close attention to how you talk to yourself. You know, what do you call yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Because it's amazing to me. I've listened to people talk about like, oh, I'm so stupid. Man, what an idiot. I can't believe I did that. Man, I totally failed. I mean, we're just, our judgmental talk against ourselves. Again, go back to your statement about agreeing with the Lord, agreeing with the enemy. Like, I think a lot of times God of heaven is not going, you're so stupid. You're such an idiot. You failed so hard. I don't think that ever comes out of his mouth. And so where does that come from? And so if we're going to make this spiritual integration of these two worlds, we got to go, I need to pay attention to how I talk to myself. Because how you talk to yourself is inevitably how you'll start talking to other people at some point. So then you go that others awareness. Like empathy is massive.
And it may not, that talk towards others may not ever come out of your mouth, but it's raging in your mind. And then you're creating this dissonance within yourself because
I'm
then
nice to you,
because
really
I'm saying nice things to you like, oh, it's okay, and inside you're going, you're an idiot. I will never trust you with this.
There's
again.
times I've made mistakes and empathy helps me go, lack of empathy is, oh, you're so stupid. How could you do this? Is going to blow everything up and everything. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then I feel like I'm on the pressure point to go out and fix it. There's sometimes I've blown it where empathy prevails and I go, oh man, I didn't know any better. I made a mistake. I didn't really understand what would happen. And so now I can learn from it and move forward without this pressure and keep my relationships intact and keep my own health intact, my spiritual walk with the Lord intact.
And that empathy helps you then to commit to growth. Because you're recognizing that, like, okay, I learned something from that mistake. And I'm going to put some guardrails, some processes, some people in place that will keep me from making that mistake again.
I remember a few episodes ago, somebody made a comment when I said that people don't grow under judgment. One of the clips we put up, people don't grow under, and they were like, what about the military? What about the military? And I was like, okay, good point. Because the idea is, man, they're just bashing you. But I would challenge it. They're not really. They're not kind necessarily. They're actually trying to strip you of all of your brokenness and get you into a place where they can shape you. But here's what I would say. There's an equal level of high challenge and support. What they're actually trying to get you is to bond together as a group. So the support will be there in times of trauma, difficulty, challenge for the future, because that's what your job's going to be. So there's a purpose to it. it's not that they're just being judgmental. They're really not. Now they're approaching it in a very probably perceivably harsh way. And some of that's, and again, the other side of this as well, let's look at the trauma that's caused, PTSD and all the things that are coming out of the military. Not against the military, love the military. But like, just because this is the way we behave doesn't mean it's helpful and healthy in the long run.
Right.
Okay. But here's what I would say is like, because I know a lot of guys have been traumatized through those experiences, and a lot of guys grew up in those moments. Like, man, if I wouldn't have done that, I was a punk kid, and it's worked in my life, and I served my country. But here's what I would say: they're combining that high challenge with high support.
Absolutely.
Which is the key.
Yes.
So this empathy is not like just support and no challenge.
Correct.
It is, okay, I'm going to give empathy to myself to not just judge myself. I'm going to actually give support to myself, and others can help me with that support so that I can face the challenge I've got equally and actually succeed.
Yes.
So we always talk about high challenge, high support. They got to match.
Yep.
If there's high challenge without support, man, it won't be long until you're just failing.
Yeah.
If it's high support without high challenge, then you may never get anything done. You may just be like, well, let's all just sit around and talk about how nice we need to be to each other. And that's not what we're getting at.
No.
It's the balance of both.